Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around the Silks. This is the Expecting Ariel's podcast, now with the Digital Family of Podcasts. How's it going, guys? Wonderful to have you here. Before we get started today, lots of stuffing at Wrap Your Head Around the Silks. Roll It Out, our 60-minute virtual live rolling classes attacking all the aerialist problems. So we have a class on Sunday and Tuesdays, and then your portal that you can access all the videos. So I would love to have you.
All of these things in my doctor game.
Yeah, Bean got a new app last night. She was so excited. She was jumping on the bed. Yeah, so, and then it was awesome. And then there's a bunch of free resources that I put up on the website. So even if you've been there before, check it out. And today we are doing part 2 of Nina Samberg. So Nina is the woman who went through a lot, and she knew she wanted to have a second kid, and they ended up going with a surrogate. And this is their story. So this is so intriguing.
Yeah.
I ask all the questions that are in like the back of my mind that I don't even want to ask because it sounds terrible. But I ask them because I'm not the only one who has these questions. So Nina gracefully answers them all. And she's currently now juggling having a toddler and an infant in the house. But thank you, Nina, for being here, for being vulnerable, telling us your story, and let's get started. Is it quiet in your house right now?
For the moment, yes, but I'm fine. So, the baby's napping, but when she wakes up, her dad's ready to like jump on it. So yeah, I'm hiding out in the 4-year-old's bedroom. This is the only room in the house that's somewhat private. And my 4-year-old doesn't even like use this bedroom right now, which is so frustrating. She like plays in here. She doesn't sleep in here. And yeah. So anyway, this is becoming the place that I go when I need like a little bit of quiet time.
So are both kids in the bed with you?
No. Oh, okay. So it's actually I'm just like kind of frustrated with the setup, but it's actually working really well. Like Raph and I like made all the mistakes the first time around. And basically neither of us slept with the 4-year-old. And so this time around, he was like, I am not letting you get sleep deprived again because I don't want to deal with you being sleep deprived. And so what's happening now is the older one is sleeping upstairs in the bed with me, and Raph is sleeping downstairs with the baby. So because she's not breastfed, she's bottles. So he's doing the night feeds. And ever since we brought her home, he's on night duty. It's been really wonderful.
Oh my God, this is like a revelation.
It was definitely a revelation for us. And like, honestly, I've slept pretty much a full 8 hours, like most nights since she's been born. But then in the morning, I'm like juggling both of them. I have to get the older one to school, get the baby fed because he needs to catch up on sleep because he hasn't slept like the night before. So I have to say the baby's been a pretty good sleeper. Like, I think we're a lot more relaxed this time around. So she's definitely like, I don't know. I feel like I needed to hear every sound that the older one made, like through her first year, and it was keeping me up and probably keeping her up. And with this one, we're just a lot more like, put her somewhere where we don't hear her or hear most of the noises that she makes. And she's ended up being kind of like a better sleeper. So like at this point, she's 4.5 months old, and she has slept through the night completely, like maybe 5 times, like that never happened with my older one ever. She didn't sleep through the night completely until she was like past 1. And like, even still, she would like wake up and do like a shriek in the middle of the night sometimes, like after age 1. And like this baby has, by 4.5 months, I would say 5, not consecutive nights, never consecutive nights, but occasionally we like wake up in the morning and we're like, whoa, she made it all the way through the night. So yeah,
I mean, I just had that thought this morning. Mm-hmm. And she's 3.5. I was like, oh, well, she's coughing.
She's sick.
So she didn't cough through the night. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
slightly better, even though she still has this deep cough.
Yeah.
She didn't wake up doing it. So yeah. So I guess it just doesn't go away. Oh, look at this bean.
Poor kiddo. Yeah, she does not look happy.
That's why I'm in the bed. So I have this setup, listeners, where I have the laptop and all the wires connected to the microphone, and we do it bedside. And she's got her iPad and her little headphones on. She looks miserable, but also slightly okay.
Headphones.
Yeah, it's your headphones.
She's happy that you're with her.
Yeah.
Who bought it?
I bought them.
Thank you, Mom.
She said, "Thank you, Mom."
Oh.
So this is our check-in with Nina. So a while ago, she came on to talk about her mental process and emotional process of deciding to go with a surrogate because she had some losses after her daughter was born, and it was just really like your body refused to have another baby.
Yeah, pretty much. That was really not even an option. I didn't really, when my doctor was like, "Do you want to talk about trying again?" I was like, "No, I can't." Like, just no, nothing left. So, yeah, the surrogate was the only option.
Let's talk about over the months, I get a text from Nina, and she's like, "Surrogate has a low-lying placenta."
No, surrogate had complete placenta previa.
Oh, okay. So it was covering.
So, I'll sort of back it up to
please.
Where we ended our last episode was, I think we had been through like the IVF process. We got our embryos. We had, we found our surrogate. We were all excited. We transferred. She got pregnant. It was all just like wonderful. I was like, okay, she's pregnant. I was nervous because it was early. But it was like, okay, we got a baby, like kind of on the way. And so it was going great. And, I just, in my mind was like, oh, it's not my body anymore. This is going to be great. No big deal. It's going to be perfect. I'll get that perfect baby that I've been trying so hard to get. And so my surrogate lived in Georgia. I think I mentioned this last time. So she was a plane ride across the country. But we talked every day and we texted. And the first time that I went out there was for her 20-week ultrasound. So I was like, oh, how fun, the 20-week ultrasound. I'm just going to like hop on a plane, fly over for 2 days. I'm going to go with her to the appointment, see the ultrasound. It's going to be wonderful. And so I go with her to the appointment, and they go in to do the thing. And it's fun. And at the end, the tech is like, the doctor will talk to you about this, but your placenta is covering your cervix. And we were like, oh, okay. So after the ultrasound, they send you in to talk to the doctor, and I was like, it's going to be okay. Like, Carrie talks about placenta previa all the time. And it was fine for Carrie, no big deal. And the doctor's like, so you have complete placenta previa. They're like, it is only 20 weeks, so there is a small chance that it can resolve. But she said that with a low-lying placenta, there's a much better chance that it resolves. But a complete previa at 20 weeks is unlikely to resolve. So she was basically like, so we're going to check you again at 32 weeks, and see where it's at. And basically, if it hasn't moved and it's still covering your cervix, we're scheduling a C-section for 37 weeks. That's it. No questions. Like, the baby we can't let it get to a point where you have bleeding or your cervix starts to change. It's just not safe. So we're taking the baby out at 37 weeks. And that's where we were at 20 weeks. That was what happened after the 20 week ultrasound. So complete previa. So yeah.
So you were, how are you feeling? I mean, how are you feeling
at the moment? So it was weird. When they got the news, in my mind, I was doing all this, like telling myself, oh, it's all good. This is going to be fine, whatever. We leave the appointment and I go back to my hotel, and I literally had like a meltdown. Like, all that trauma, like, just came like flooding back about like, oh my God, I'm going to be losing another baby. Like, this baby's going to have to come out in the 20-something week range. And I'm going to have a baby that's like, either like going to not make it or going to make it and is going to have lifelong issues. Like, I just fell back into that hole completely. So I flew home, and my surrogate was actually had her own sort of meltdown about it, but she was actually okay. She was super brave. I'm like so proud of her, because like it wasn't even my body, but obviously I had so much trauma, and she was, I mean, she's sitting there facing like this ticking time bomb situation of complete placenta previa. So she and I talked a lot over the like next week to kind of like help each other through it. And I I ended up like contacting, I had this therapist that I worked with when I had my miscarriages that was like really, she like specializes in things around like pregnancy loss and like early child, like early infant loss. And she wrote a book about it and whatever. And she really helped me through like my hard times. So anyway, I got back from that ultrasound and I was like, I think I need you to like get me through the next like 8 to 10 weeks because I'm like struggling. So anyway, I like sort of tried to take care of myself as best as possible. And things went pretty well. Like we didn't, the pregnancy progressed. The previa she didn't have another ultrasound until 28 weeks, but there was no hiccups. And we got through those next like 8 or 10 weeks. And so by the time we hit third trimester, I kind of started to calm down because everyone was like, okay, if anything happens, because it was basically the kind of thing like the baby had to be born by C-section. And if she had any kind of bleeding prior to 37 weeks, they were just going to have to take the baby out. Like it was just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like the placenta, if her cervix starts to change and her placenta starts bleeding, it's not good for her. It's not good for the baby. So the baby just has to come out. So there's no waiting. They don't just sit around and let her bleed. So basically, we made it to third trimester, no hiccups. Everything was fine. I started to calm down and it was sort of like, okay, if anything goes wrong, we're now in kind of like a safe zone. The baby's probably going to be okay. I was still a little scared, but it was okay. I was really okay. I was like, this is somebody else's body, not my own. So should I just keep rolling through the saga?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, just stop me if you have any questions about it. But so we got to the 30-week mark, and then it was kind of around Christmas time, and it was like everyone was excited. We had our C-section scheduled around the 28-week mark. They checked her again. She still had complete previa. They were like, all right, we're scheduling your C-section for 37 weeks. So the C-section was scheduled for February 10th. And my birthday is February 11th. And I was like, really? Like, really? Am I going to have to share my baby's birthday? Like, I kind of really wasn't so into that idea, but I was like, fine, I'll share my birthday. God. Anyway, so we had that all planned, and it's coming up on Christmas time, and it was like, all was good. And January 4th-ish, a couple days after New Year's, I wake up to a text message from my surrogate saying that she's bleeding, and she was at 31 weeks and 6 days. So she's like, I'm heading to the hospital right now, because her doctor had said like it was a total emergency. If she had any bleeding, she had to go straight to the hospital. And she basically went to the hospital, and they did all the stuff as if they were going to have to take the baby out. They gave her steroids. They had her on all the monitors, and they let her go for about 24 hours. And after 24 hours, the bleeding stopped. And they kept her in the hospital for 4 more days, and they kept monitoring her and kept checking her and making sure she wasn't bleeding, making sure she wasn't having contractions. They put her on a medication that's like I think it's a blood pressure medication, but it's supposed to help her not have contractions. So at this point, she's right around the 32-week mark. So babies can totally be born at 32 weeks. And for the most part, they are fine. But it's still super scary to think about. And so I called her doctor somewhere in the midst of this. When she was in the hospital, I called her doctor and I was like, if this seems like it's turning south, like, can you let me know immediately so I can like get on a plane and like get there? Cause I want to be there like when the baby is born. And the doctor was like super straight with me and was like, in these situations, like if she has more bleeding, I'm going to have to take the baby out, and I can't wait like 12 hours for you to get here. So she was like, yeah, she was like, she was like, is there any way you could just be in Georgia for the next month, while we wait this out? And that way you can be sure that you're here. Cause she's like, otherwise I can't really guarantee you anything. And I was like, if that's what it has to be, then that's what we'll do. So I have a 4-year-old at home. So I left the 4-year-old home with her dad and grandparents, and I went to Georgia and I basically like rented a house. I rented a car and I hung out. I was working. I was basically just like, I will just be here until I need to be here. Because I just wasn't willing to miss it. Like, after everything I had been through, I just really wanted to like be as close to in the room as I could possibly be, for her to be born. Cause I don't know, it's like a really amazing part of the journey. And I just didn't want to think about trying to travel across the country, like while like my kid is being born in some emergency crash C-section. Like that just sounded like horrible. So what ended up happening was I went out to Georgia, I rented a house and a car, and it was actually like wonderful. Like for a couple of weeks, I just, had the house to myself. I did things I haven't done in years. I worked out every day. I cooked myself dinner every night. I watched Netflix. I did all kinds of like wonderful self-care. It was so amazing having like no husband, partner, no child. And so it was really stressful because at that point it was early January and our drop dead date was February 10th when she had to be born. So I was like, I might be here for a month and I have a 4-year-old at home. And so I was totally freaked out about like, do I need to like get my 4-year-old out here with me to visit? Like, I can't leave her for like a month. So yeah, it was all like super stressful. And lo and behold, the baby ended up being born 2 weeks after I got there. So it was actually a really wonderful, amazing thing. And I was so happy that I was there. So the bleeding episode happened at 32 weeks. We thought everything after that was fine. My surrogate went home. She was supposed to be on like kind of bed rest, but she could go for like late walks. And she and I got together and I went with her to a doctor's appointment, an ultrasound, and her doctor was like, maybe we're going to make it to the 37-week mark. Things are looking good. You could be okay. And so what ended up happening was it was a Friday night. She was 34 weeks in one day. I had been out for dinner. Strangely enough, I actually have a friend who lives in the same town as her. So I was out for dinner with a friend. We sat down, we ordered. I look at my phone. There's a text message on it that says, I'm bleeding. I'm on my way to the hospital. We're at 34 weeks in one day. So for some reason, when we hit the 34-week mark, I really started to like calm down. Like I was like, I have this cousin who's a pediatrician. He was like, oh, 34 weeks onward, you're totally good. They can do everything. They can breathe. They can do everything. Like they might spend some time in the NICU, but like they're going to be completely fine. I was like, okay, cool. And I actually have 2 friends who had twins at 34 weeks. And so I kind of saw their whole journeys and I know their kids and I know their kids are fine. So I really calmed down at the 34-week mark. So 34 weeks in one day, I sit down to order. I get a text message. It's like 8:00 at night. She's like, I'm bleeding. I'm on my way to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, uh-oh. And so I leave my dinner. I go and I jump in the car. I call her from the car and she's like, they're prepping me for the C-section. And I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. So I get there and there's nobody at the hospital, totally empty. Was beautiful, parked like right out front of the hospital. Walked in, I get to the pre-op area. There's a doctor on call. So unfortunately, her doctor was like really into our case. Like her doctor loved that it was this whole like surrogate intended mother situation and like was really, but her doctor was actually like out on leave that day. So we had this on-call doctor who ended up being like fantastic. And he pulled me aside and he was like, 34 weeks is a fine time to have a baby. And, I'm perfectly comfortable with you coming in for the C-section if you want to be in the OR. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to be in the OR for the C-section because you're only allowed one person, right? So my surrogate wanted obviously her boyfriend to be her support person with her for the C-section. And so the doctor was like, I'm perfectly comfortable with you coming in. He's like, this is an emergency situation. I got to take the baby out, but this isn't a crash. He said, we have some time. We have a few hours. We're setting up the OR. We're doing good here. Like, this is great. We're having a baby. Everything's good. And so in my mind, I had always thought that in this situation we were in, that she would be born and they would just whisk her away to the NICU and I would not even get to see her, not get to hold her. And that's like not at all what happened. So they prepped her for the C-section. They took her in the OR, and then her boyfriend and I, like, scrubbed up, like put on our suits and like we go in, and I'm sitting kind of at the head of the bed with her boyfriend and chatting with the anesthesiologist. It was actually a nurse anesthetist. He was so fantastic. The whole team was so fantastic. Because I didn't have a C-section with my older one, it was so cool to like see the whole thing. And I just think a C-section is like a really incredibly wonderful way to give birth after seeing what I saw. And so at the point that they're about to take the baby out, the nurses kind of call me over and they're like, do you want to come like over on this side? You want to see? Like, and I'm like, yeah, totally. I do. So I come over to the other side where they're like operating, and the nurses are like, get your camera out. They're about to pull the baby out. And I'm like, are you crazy? Okay. Like, this is crazy. So I pull the camera out and I'm taking pictures, and I watch, and the doctor, like, ever so swiftly, and I had listened to all your podcasts of your wonderful doctor that explained all the
Dr. Janae.
Yeah, Dr. Janae's podcast. And so I knew kind of exactly what was going on, and it happened exactly like that. Like, definitely like hand in, pull the head out. And she comes out, they pull her out, and I'm taking pictures of the whole thing. And it's like a perfectly beautiful, normal birth. They pull her out, she's crying. It's the same as like a vaginal delivery. The same. I mean, from my perspective, I just was like, this is like such a beautiful birth. Like, it's not what I imagined. I think I imagined like surgery and maybe because I wasn't the one being operated on, but like, it was really amazing. And the nurse anesthetist took such good care of my surrogate, and she was super comfortable through the whole thing. He had her drugged up just perfectly so that she was comfortable. It was easy. He was very communicative with her and was like, how are you feeling? You're about to feel a little nauseous. If it doesn't go away, tell me. And he was so good with her. And she, I think, was super relaxed because she knew she didn't have to like deal with the baby on the other side. She just had to get through it. And her boyfriend was there with her. So they pull the baby out. She's crying. She's perfect, even though she's 34 weeks. And so they take her over to the little table, and they're wiping her down. And the nurse is like, here, you can cut the cord. So the nurse like helps me cut her cord. They like wrap her up. She's like her APGAR scores look great. She's doing really good. She weighed 5 pounds, 6 ounces, which is like a great size for a 34 weeker. And they wrap her up, they give her to me. She's crying. I don't know if you can hear her, but, so they give her to me, and I'm walking her around the OR. I'm showing her to the doctors. I'm showing her to my surrogate and her boyfriend. Everybody's just like, oh my God, she's so perfect. This is so great. Blah, blah. Like, it's this whole beautiful, it's like was the birth experience that I just thought I wasn't going to get to have because I thought I had given it up by having a surrogate have the baby for me. But because it was just such a beautiful group of people in like kind of a really nice way, that it was a C-section, it was sort of scheduled. We knew it was going to happen that way. We didn't know exactly when, but it was just a really, really amazing birth experience. And I actually feel really like happy that I got the birth experience, even though I didn't give birth, but I was totally there, totally in the room. And with surrogacy, the way that it happens is like, as soon as the baby's out, it is yours. Like, they slap a bracelet on the baby and it has your name on it. And, she was mine from that point onward. And so she ended up having to go to the NICU, but not right away. So they sent her to the nursery. It was really cool because I put her, I was carrying her around the OR for like a while, showing her off, and then put her in the little bassinet, and I wheeled her down to the nursery. And so they put her in one of those, little warming little beds in the nursery. And there was a glass window in between me and her. And I was, I FaceTimed with my family, and I was like FaceTiming, her dad and the grandparents and her sister. And we were like, this is it. This is her. We told them what her name was. And it was like really a nice moment. So yeah, that was her birth. Do you want me to keep going to like the next stage, or do you want me to stop there?
So the surrogate, how does she feel about having to get a C-section?
Well, she had such a good attitude about it. I mean, we knew she was having a C-section from 20 weeks onward, right? Like when she found out about the previa, we knew it was going to be a C-section. So she had a lot of time to like wrap her brain around it. And she and I talked about it because like I had a really hard vaginal delivery with my older daughter, and she had a really hard vaginal delivery with her son, apparently. I mean, it was fine and normal, but she was like, I've actually heard, like, people had been telling her like C-sections were like even maybe a little easier, especially scheduled ones, where you don't do like all the pushing and all the, so she kind of like warmed up to the idea and had like lots of time to like mentally prepare for it. And she was like, I didn't sign up for this process thinking that I was, gonna get out, that I wasn't gonna have to make sacrifices like this. So she was great. She had a great attitude about it. And she just loved the team that did it. So after the baby was born, she was like in the post-op area for like a long time. So I didn't actually get to see her until like much later. So like when I went to see her afterwards, so the baby was born around like 8:30, or no, she was born around 9:00. And by midnight, everyone kind of got settled. The baby kind of went off to the NICU, and Surrogate ended back in her, postpartum room. And I went to visit her, a few hours later. And she was like, we were laughing a little bit because she was saying like the bleeding episode that happened that predicated the C-section was horrific. Apparently they were like out for dinner, and she just like, it was just like tons of blood, like just like dripping down. And they were out at a restaurant and with like her boyfriend and his kids. And so she like ran back to the car, and apparently the blood was like pooling in her shoes. Like that's how much blood there was. And that apparently her car looked like a crime scene. So she said she had sent her boyfriend to go like deal with the car because the car was covered in blood. She was like, it was crazy, but we were like laughing about it, because we kind of knew that was coming, like with previa, your placenta is sitting right on top of your cervix, and placentas bleed, like there's all kinds of blood in there. So anyway, but she was able to get to the hospital super quickly. So she wasn't actually like that scared. I think her doctor did a really good job mentally preparing her. So, but yeah, she said the C-section was great. She really liked her nurse anesthetist. And she said at one point she like vomited in the middle of the C-section, but it like wasn't a big deal because he was like, you're going to feel nauseous. And she's like, I still feel nauseous. And he's like, okay, how about now? And she's like, no, I think I'm going to throw up. And he's like, okay, no big deal. Turn your head to the side. Okay, go ahead, vomit. And she like did. And then he was like, oh, I feel better now. Oh, okay. So it was like, they were just like in lockstep, her and her nurse anesthetist. So yeah, she just said it was a great experience.
So what's so intriguing to me is how the psychological part is like for both of you. Usually, you're the one giving birth. You have to mentally absorb going through an abdominal surgery, being on the drugs, baby coming out, everything. But in this case, the woman who was doing that was this separate person, and she also didn't have to deal with recovering and taking care of a baby right after.
Exactly.
And you didn't have to deal with the recovery. You could just take care of the baby. So that is just
mind-blowing, right?
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes total sense, actually. Yeah. Kind of mind-blowing.
Can you help me?
Yeah, because...
Can you help me?
Can I help you do what?
Do this?
Oh, no. I have to do the podcast.
I want you to do it.
She's doing a Lego app, and she's trying to build the little toy that they're... And she needs help. Bean, can I help you after I'm done?
No.
But the surrogate, so what I as a woman can't wrap my head around is the mentality of a surrogate. Did you have trouble doing that?
No.
Or is it because you were like, you knew her so well?
I knew her,
and
I knew where she was coming from. And what's really cool is there's like a whole community of surrogates out there that support each other through this. So like, And surrogates are all just amazing, giving, loving women. Like I've come across, so you can sort of follow, there's some really interesting like Instagram accounts of surrogates who are trying, like they really care. I mean, there's a lot of altruism in surrogacy, even though they get paid, which they absolutely should get paid, but they don't do it for the money. I mean, the money is great, but they really do it because they like it. I mean, it is like, it makes them feel so good to do that for people. And they're just they're like a special breed of humans, and they're really just smart and educated about the whole thing and the complexities of it, right? Like it's a very complex, like interpersonal, like there's a lot of interpersonal dynamics that are super complicated. You know, they've got their own families and their own, you know, husbands or partners. Plus they've got, you know, their intended parents, families, partners, kids. And so it's like a lot of kind of deeply interpersonal, you need a very emotionally smart person to be able to handle all those complicated dynamics. And that's who they are. They're emotionally very intelligent, and they are very good at just navigating all that complexity. And I mean, I think for them, birth is birth, right? They know it's hard and it's not easy, but they accept that it's part of this journey. And even if the baby isn't theirs, it's still like a memorable, exciting, like mountain to climb, the same way that like somebody would want to like run a marathon, from my opinion. Like, you know, in my opinion, for me, I'm like, why would you want to put yourself through that kind of pain for running a marathon? Doesn't seem worth it to me. But to them, like it is, and it kind of is. I mean, they are like bringing a human into the world. And I feel like I got very good one-on-one contact with my surrogate, so I got to know her really well, and she was very just explained to me a lot about where she was in the process, and mentally why she did it, why she wanted to do it, and why she doesn't want to keep the baby. Like she even told me that she might have a little bit of baby fever and might want to have her own baby. Like she didn't think she wanted more kids, but now she's kind of feeling like maybe she does want another one of her own kids. Yeah, but she always knew, she knows it's not her baby, and she's doing it because she wanted to do something big with her life at that point in her life. And that was what she did. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard to wrap your brain around it, but there is a whole community of them, and they support each other. And even in this town where we were in Georgia, there's like several surrogates. And I think they all know each other. They don't do it like a million. You can only do it like 2 or 3 times, like max. I don't think my surrogate wants to do it again at all. Not because of all the complications, but I think she's just kind of like, yeah, I wanted to try it and it was great, but you know, I'm good now kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's impossible for me to understand.
I
can understand.
Yeah.
I think it is, but thank God for those people, because people like you who are unable, like physically, gay couples, like,
yep, totally. It's such a gift.
There's so many families out there. It's such a gift, and it's so necessary.
Yeah.
I love this like peek into it, because I think unless you go down that rabbit hole, like you wouldn't know anything about this.
I'll if you're interested, I'll send you some Instagram accounts that you can dive into, and like, yeah, it's very interesting. I've really gotten to know them, and I was totally dumb to this before I went through this process. I was like, what do you mean? Like, doesn't a surrogate want to keep the baby? And now that I've been through the whole process, I'm like, actually, no, that never happens. Actually, that's like what people say when they think of surrogacy, but in reality, that's like never an issue. That's not a thing. Like, it's just not a thing. The surrogate doesn't want the baby. They're not doing it for the baby. If they wanted the baby, they would just have their own baby. They're people that enjoy pregnancy. They have kids already. They would just have another one of their own babies. They don't want more babies. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I can't wrap my head around is like the baby comes out and then you don't necessarily have that connection, but it's not for me to understand like that. But
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's where my brain goes.
I know it's weird. A lot of surrogates are also egg donors, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of like, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, wow, donating eggs seems scary. The thought of it scares me, but the thought of it doesn't scare everyone. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So she's 4 months now.
Yeah, she's 4 months
And
old.
you guys are like, well, you're sleeping, which is a way, and you're not recovering from a surgery.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's just totally different.
Yeah. So I'll just finish the part about eventually the baby did get whisked off to the NICU. After about an hour in the nursery, the NICU nurse came back. So I didn't know this, but apparently every C-section there's a NICU nurse present, because babies who are born by C-section do not get as good of an opportunity to expel all of the fluid from their lungs. Because the birthing process, something about labor helps release enzymes that help expel fluid from the baby's lungs, or there's a theory that the baby gets squeezed on the way out of the canal, so the fluid comes out of their lungs. And so every time there's a C-section, there's a NICU nurse present. This is what I was told. Maybe I'm not totally, this is what I was told. So the NICU nurse is there to make sure that the baby is breathing fine, because all C-section babies can be subject to having this breathing, not like, just some slight difficulties because of retained fluid. So the NICU nurse was there when she was born. And then she came back to the nursery and she was like, yeah, she's like doing great, but she's kind of having trouble, like breathe. Like she's been working really hard to breathe. She's like, so we're just going to take her back. We're going to get her set up in the NICU. And I was like, okay. I think they were kind of just busting my balls, like at the part where she was born, and they were like, oh my God, she's doing great. We're just sending her to the nursery. Like, instead of being like, this baby, like 34-week babies need some time in the NICU. Like, that's just like a given. It doesn't mean anything terrible. It's just, so the main issue with babies who are born at 34 weeks or just a little, early, is that they don't have good suck swallow muscles in their jaw. So they can't feed necessarily right off the bat. So they have to tube feed them for a couple of days until they feel confident that the baby can like suck from a bottle or can breastfeed. So our baby basically got whisked back to the NICU because she did have some retained fluid in her lungs. So they put her on like a little baby CPAP machine. It's really like quite a device just for like a little CPAP. But it was just sort of like pressure. So the CPAP puts pressure. She didn't need like a ventilator or anything. So it puts pressure on their lungs, which helps expel the extra fluid. And then she had she had to have a tube, and then she had like an IV. So because when they're on the CPAP machine, they're trying to drain all the fluid, so they don't feed them any food yet. They just feed them fluids through the IV until the CPAP kind of fixes their lungs. So she was born at 9:30 on Friday, and by 12:30 she was like all set up in the NICU. And so I go in, and she's all tubed up, she's got tubes in her nose, tubes in her mouth, like sensors everywhere. It was like, it was tough. I knew she was okay. I really felt good that she was okay. I was on the phone to my pediatrician cousin, like while I was waiting for her to get set up, and he was like, she's going to do great. And if you need me to talk you through any of the things that they're doing in that NICU, like just call me, blah, blah, blah. So I knew she was fine. So I go in, she's in a little box, she's all tubed up, and it's 12:30, it's past midnight. And the NICU nurses are like, she's fine. You should go get some sleep. And I'm like, are you serious? She was born 3 hours ago. You think I'm going to leave and go get some sleep? But eventually I was like, well, it doesn't really make sense for me to be here. All the babies are sleeping. The NICU is like such a interesting place. I expected it to be full of like crying, like sick babies. It's actually not. It's full of like peaceful, sweet, tiny babies that are fine.
Oh.
Like, I mean, not fine, but like they're, some of them just need extra care. So like the NICU nurses, I came to love the NICU and the NICU nurses. Like, these women are just lovely. Like, their whole job is like feeding and burping and changing little teeny tiny babies. And it was just so cute like to see, I mean, you don't really go over to the other babies and look at them, but you kind of see from a distance that they're, it's time to feed. They're all on a schedule. They put all the little babies in the NICU on a schedule. So it's like, oh, it's your turn. Now we get you up, we change you, we check your vitals, we feed you, we burp you, we put you back, we swaddle you back up, we put you back down. And it's just like really, and it's like they do that with the, the 28 weekers, with the 31 weekers, with the 35 weekers, like all the babies there are just, they're normal babies. They're just little, like they're tiny. And so we had a baby next to us that was a twin, and his twin had been sent home because he was doing better. And so he had like a big A in his, because he was the baby A. And so it was, anyway, it was just really sweet. It was a really cute, I mean, obviously it could be a really scary place, but we spent 10 days there. She was in there for 10 days. And she got better really fast. So it was like, so that night they set her up. I went home. I tried to sleep, but I didn't. I took a shower. I rolled around in bed, trying to sleep, but I didn't. At 8 a.m. I was like, up, ready. I was back at the NICU, like visiting hours are at 8 a.m. And I'm like knocking on the door being like, hi, I'm here. So I get there and they pull her out and she's all tubed, and I held her. That was the first time, well, since I had held her in the OR, I held her, and she was super cute. And I just remember being like, oh my God, you're just perfect, but you're just really little. Like, and she wasn't even that little. She was 5 pounds, 6 ounces. They were like, some people have 5-pound babies at full term. So,
yeah.
But she was just, yeah, she was great. And so she had that CPAP thing for a couple of days. 2 to 3 days later, that came off. The IVs came out. The feeding tube came out. It's like one by one, all of the little interventions just came out. And by, 7 days in, she was feeding on a schedule, and I would come into the NICU and I would do the whole feeding routine with them and put her back down. And then I would leave, and then I would come back 3 hours later and do it again. And then they discharged her. She was pretty much fine from day 7. She was feeding like from a bottle completely. And they discharged her at 7 days old. And it was really, really sweet. My mom flew out, to help me bring her home. So her dad flew out the night she was born. So her dad showed up the next morning. And so he was there the next morning in the NICU, and he stayed for a couple of days and then left. And then my mom flew out the day before she was discharged. And then we brought her home to the Airbnb. It was like so funny because I messaged the Airbnb woman being like, hey, do you have a pack and play by any chance? She's like, oh, there's already one in the closet. And I was like, oh, perfect. So I set up a pack and play. I set up a little baby station in the Airbnb, so brought her home from the hospital and popped her in her little pack and play, and spent the next 2 days. I ended up spending about 3.5 weeks out there altogether. And so then we spent the next like 48 hours just cleaning up the Airbnb and packing. And then we went to the airport and flew her home. And, everybody was like, oh, like, that baby's really little. Like, how old is she? And I was like, oh, 10 days. They're like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, no, I actually didn't give birth to her. I'm picking her up from her surrogate. And a lot of people, like some people like didn't really know how to handle that, but like we were sitting next to this woman on the plane that was kind of like, oh, like your baby's so little, you're traveling with her? And I was like, oh no, like she was actually born in Georgia, like by a surrogate. And she was like, oh, so you're bringing her home? That's so cute. And I was like, yes. Like, so it's like some people kind of got it. Like some people were like, that's weird, but I'm still dealing with that. Like I'll be dealing with that for, I think, as long as she's a baby. I think it'll, it keeps coming up, right? Whenever you have a baby, people want to ask you about your birth, and that's fine. I'm totally cool with it. I'm totally open about it. As you see, I love sharing the story. I love telling the story. And so people are usually interested in it. So, I mean, I tell everyone who wants to hear about it. So, but it's like, I joined a mom's group, like a second time mom's group, and it was like 4 other moms in the group. And first day we show up and I'm like, I actually didn't give birth to her, and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, it's hard, people, whatever, it is what it is, but, it's just part of the story. So yeah, that was the NICU part of the journey, which actually ended up being lovely. And I think every baby should spend a few days in the NICU. They get them on a schedule. They show you how to do the stuff. They teach you. Like I did it all wrong with my daughter. I like brought her home. I was like, what do I do with this thing? It's crying. I don't know. Feed it, change. I don't know. But in the NICU, they're like, no, just put her down. She's good. Let her sleep. And then, when it's her turn, we come around, we change her, we feed her. And, it's just like, everything was so like like methodical, and nobody freaked out about anything. And I was like, this is the best experience ever. I wish my older daughter had had a few days in the NICU. So it just like, we got out of there. We were on a schedule. We were on a rhythm. So yeah, that part of it was really nice.
Yeah. You know, they send the baby home with the mom the first time. You're just like, zero idea.
Why do they do that?
How to take care of a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
Yeah, it's great. It is really nuts. Even in these baby-friendly hospitals, they send the baby in the room with you, and they're like, "Yeah, you figure it out." It's tough. It's really tough. So I was really grateful to have the NICU support for this one.
What is it, little bean?
Oh,
I want you to make breakfast.
You want me to make you breakfast?
Aww.
Yeah, we can do breakfast.
Yeah.
We can do it. Nina, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that this all turned out. It was a little stressful in there, and I cannot even imagine because I get so anxious myself.
Yeah.
So
same.
I'm so glad there's a happy ending, and you guys are a family of 4 now, and it's just life.
Yeah. So totally just life. I will say I highly recommend 4-year age gap between kids. Like, I cannot imagine, like, the moms in my mom's group, they have 2.5-year-olds, 3-year-olds. And the 4-year-old has done swimmingly. She's having some issues lately, but I'm hearing about like regressing on the potty training, regressing on like all kinds of things. Like, and so we haven't had too big a drama. Mainly just the sleeping arrangement in our house has gone out the window, which I would like to change. But yeah, it's been good. I think the 4-year age gap turned out to was not what we planned, but it's what we got, and seems to be okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I love that we have in the show notes, there's going to be a link to the first part of the story for the listeners if they want to listen to it in one piece.
Sure.
And yeah. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's been a long road, and I'm super happy. If anybody ever has questions about surrogacy or any of that, I am an expert now. So
Nina, I am so grateful to be privy to like all this stuff happening in your life and be able to interview you and ask you all these questions, and have known you for many years too, because I knew her from dancing many years ago. So I appreciate you coming on here, and I wish you all the best juggling those kiddos and then a work life. So my friends, my listeners, check out Roll It Out, go to the show notes. Also have a lot of free things, 3 video masterclass series, beginner intermediate silks, 3 video master series on aerial rehab, and straddle in 3 ways, a bunch of little videos. Yeah, it's all for you guys there. I did it for all of you. So would love to have you. Check out Greener Grass.
Found the box.
Oh, you found it. Good job. It was in the desk. You guys know when you're looking for something and you can't find it, and then days later you found it. That's just what happened now. Where was I? Greener Grass. Check it out. Me and Kelly gabbing about all types of things, including my IUD, including all of my health stuff, including everything. Check it out. And Ditching a Podcast, health and wellness stories there. So, yeah. Please honor me with a 5-star rating and review. And see you guys next time. This is me saying over and out. This is the Expecting Marians podcast on the Digital Network.